Hello again. This week we're going to do a small tour of East Clare and we're going to look at a few things that our history books, in an ideal world, would have told us about, but they didn't tell us. We're going to look at a couple of dolmens, some lakes, and a couple of old country houses. Now, the lakes are there since the end of the Ice Age, 10,000 odd years. The dolmens, we're told, were built 3,000 or 4,000 years ago, and the two country houses we'll be looking at were built 200 to 300 years ago. Now, on paper, they would have nothing to do with each other. But as we'll see, it's not that simple.
Let's start on the mountain just north of Mount Shannon. This is Bohatch Dolmen. There are a couple of views of the dolmen. There's a view from the dolmen site down across Lough Derg and across to Tipperary. There's the location of Bohatch Dolmen, that's the red indicator there to the west of Lough Derg. And approximately 20 kilometres south-southwest, as per this second red indicator, we have a dolmen at Clooney Conry. This is in the valley south of Kilban, between Broadford and O'Brien's Bridge. And in between these two dolmen locations, we have Slieve Barna, which rises to approximately 500 metres. The highest peak there is Moylussa, which is a short distance northwest of Killaloe. Now, quite near the top of that mountain is a little lake called the Enchanted Lake. It's a little lake, about 3/4 of an acre. It has a diameter of about 70 metres. So it's a pretty small target when we're talking about alignments, but if we draw a line between the two dolmens, we go right over the centre of the Enchanted Lake. Now, this on its own, of course, means nothing, but let's go 16 kilometres to the west of the Enchanted Lake. We have an old country house called Brook Lodge. Built, we're told, in the early 1700s. The lodge was the one-time seat of the High Sheriff of County Clare. Anyway, that's Brook Lodge. Let me move on to Valley House in Killaloe. Because if we start at a point in Brook Lodge, which is the meeting point of a number of other of my intersection lines, and we take a line from there to the octagonal southwest section of Valley House, that line crosses our dolmen line right over the centre of the Enchanted Lake. Now, these two alignment lines crossing the Enchanted Lake are 2 of 27 lines that do that. But for the moment, let's go to Valley House, where there is a series of outbuildings to the southwest of the main house. The northern section of that there is constructed in an L-shaped, except it's not quite an L, it is more than 90 degrees. And if we follow the short section of that L, it points us directly to Clooney Conry Dolmen. And if we follow away to the north from the long section of that L shape, it points us straight at Bohatch Dolmen. So there's what we have already. The little blue circle is the Enchanted Lake, Valley to the east, Brook Lodge to the west, and our two dolmens. Now let's go back to Bohatch. And let's take a line from there to another dolmen. There's a very nice dolmen at Moyree, which is a short distance north of Drumore Woods. And taking a line from Bohatch to Moyree, we find that that line crosses a lake, Mahara Lake, which is beside Lough A, almost on the top of Mahara Mountain. Now, Lough Mahara is another one of those locations where a lot of intersection lines meet at the same point on the lake. Including a line that runs from Mayo to South Tipperary, it takes in the Enchanted Lake, plus churches along the way, but that's for another day. Coming back to Bohatch, we already have alignments going to two other dolmens, and they go through two very busy little lakes along the way. So maybe there's a third. Let's take a line from Bohatch across to Poulnabrone Dolmen. And we hit a bullseye again. This is a little island on Lough Graney. I do not have any information on what the building on that island was, but I can tell you that the church, the St. Mary's Church in Killanena, is aligned with that building, as is the courthouse on the north shore of the lake at Lough Ray. not too far to the north. And a line from Capanawalla Stone Fort to Lochhutra Castle extends directly to this building as well. It is 45 kilometres approximately from Bohatch across to Poulnabrone over every kind of mountainous and rocky terrain. How did they do it?
This glimpse of East Clare will lead us to 3 further videos. The first one will be the Enchanted Lake, where there are 25 further alignment lines. It does appear that everything that was built in East Clare prior to 1900 was built with reference to this point on the landscape. And there's some local mythology there we'll be looking into. The other video is going to be Loch Rainy, Green Island, more correctly pronounced Grian, which is Island of the Sun, again suggesting energy, illumination, or maybe both. And finally, Loch Mahara has a very interesting location, specifically in relation to some of the older monastic sites. We'll be coming back to all of those, but for now, thank you for watching.